At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
Love that opening. I do have rational thoughts in the show, guys. It's just not... I'm only talking about myself, not my guests, of course. And our guest today, oh my gosh, I always like everybody I talk to, of course, because that's the kind of guy I am. But when you meet somebody known for a few years, and he's got like, military background, lives in Puerto Rico, is handsome, smart, and he's crushing it in an area that nobody even knows about, you definitely want to get to know this guy, and that's why you're on the show today. So we're going to talk about this in a minute. We're going to mostly talk about something that most people don't understand about crypto. Don't run away. Crypto is not evil. It's not scary. There's a way, and this guy's cracked it. He's got the, matter of fact, it relates to his book we're going to talk about, but you know who made the most money during the gold rush, right, folks? Not the gold miners, the people who sold picks and shovels. And guess what? You can be a pick and shoveler person without having data mining, crypto mining. There's another way to make money in this game. And we're all about it today in a very safe and fun manner with our good friend today, Mr. Dan Ryder. Dan, how are you?
Hey, Doug. Good. Thanks so much
was that
for
okay
having me on the
intro?
show.
I mean, it's close to the truth, right?
Yeah, that was one of the most delightful intros I've ever received.
Yeah.
And I love your opening to the show, by the way.
Oh, yeah. That's
that
from
was
an Adam
hilarious.
Sandler
From
movie.
Billy
Yeah,
Madison. Yeah.
It's funny. Some
man.
people see that.
I hope
and
comedy comes back.
They're like, they don't get it. I'm like, it's supposed to be funny, reasonable, rational thoughts.
It was good. I was trying not to burst out laughing over the
No,
over
laugh
the
away.
video.
It's just supposed to be fun. So anyway, we're going to talk about a way to get involved with the crypto world without risking as much as just buying and holding or flipping and whatnot. We'll get to that in a minute. Before we do, I think it's really important to know a person's background. I know that you're not, from Puerto Rico, but you happen to live there. I also know you have a military background. Give me the Dan Ryder journey from age 0 to 30, and let me know in 5 minutes or less.
Yeah. So grew up in the Northeast. Got served the standard plan of go to college, get a good job, make a bunch of money in corporate America. So threw a little curveball on that plan by joining the military first. So spent some time in the Air Force.
Which branch were you in?
The Air Force.
Air Force. All right.
Yeah. I just came from a passion. I just wanted to do it. And I figured if I don't do it now, I never will. Right. Did that and then started to feel kind of trapped. I loved it, but towards the end of my initial term, I started to feel a little trapped. And, I just figured military life wasn't ultimately going to be for me. So I got out and I got a job. I got a pretty good job because military experience gives you a little boost. And it was fun and exciting, but then I started to feel trapped there too, which was kind of weird. And I basically discovered that I was meant to be an entrepreneur, but I didn't know it yet. So long story short, tried all kinds of things in business, from e-commerce to affiliate marketing to, all kinds of stuff. Sales, did some sales, like just to try to figure out what are my skills? What do I like? Right. How do I get into business, right? And work for myself. And eventually got passionate and good at advertising and marketing specifically. And then it was funny, like once I got those skills, I didn't know what to do with them because I didn't have a product to sell. So I just defaulted to helping other people. So, so started kind of like a freelance service. And then long story short, ended up, getting to the point where we could, kind of leave the corporate world. So I was able to quit my job. And then very quickly the world started turning south. This was like pre-pandemic. Yeah. And I started to fear as I was becoming more successful, it just seemed more oppressive from a government point of view. So found out about this tax deal in Puerto Rico where if you open up a business there, there's some cool incentives. So we decided as a family to go unplug and go check it out. So I've been there for a couple of years.
Love it.
Yeah.
Did they change that? Is it still like 2%, 4% federal tax rate? Something really?
Yeah. So there's two deals. There's an investor decree, and then there's the business decree that you can apply for and get. And it's 4% tax on business income for services that you export off the island. So the purpose is to draw entrepreneurship to the island to help boost the economy. So that's kind of like the angle there.
Yeah.
And if you're successful and you start generating revenue, then it helps the island, and there's obviously the incentive for the entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. And then investors who come and live here and buy a permanent home here and donate to charity here, they actually get a benefit of 0% on capital gains. Nice. But the catch with all of this is you must actually live here. You can't just like open a remote address here, right? And be like, yeah, I'm in Puerto Rico. No, like they really do check, and you have to do it the real way. Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want to live there? I mean, what do you think, Detroit or Puerto Rico? I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's pretty cool here. Some people get burnt out though. Island life, if you're type A, you're probably gonna laugh.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah. No city buzz.
I'm still here.
Cool waves and cool vibes, all that stuff. Okay, cool. So, all right. So you did the corporate thing. Obviously, what did you do in the military? What was your job?
So I went to school originally for healthcare. So I used to be a pharmacist.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah. So I was a pharmacist in the Air Force. Kind of, you don't expect to hear that in one sentence, but
no,
that's what I did. Yeah.
Yeah, very good. You must have liked the movie Firefox then with Clint Eastwood.
I don't think I saw that one.
Dude, he steals a Russian fighter, and part of this advanced aircraft, it was made like in the 80s. You plugged in physically to the fighter and like sensed your thoughts and stuff. And when you get tired, it would shoot drugs in you. It was you were one with the airplane. It was fanciful. Check it out. It's not a Christmas movie like Die Hard, but it's good.
No, it sounds like it should be. Yeah. All
right. So pharmacy, corporate, and then marketing stuff, and the internet's exciting. And then you decided to get involved with crypto, but in a very unusual manner. And I use the word unusual because most people don't understand this until they get to know you. But you're not talking about buying Bitcoin and holding it. You got something completely unique on this. So explain to me, first of all, how you got involved with it. And then if you give me a thumbnail sketch on what this is, then we can talk about your book that's coming out. So,
Yeah. So, in my story, I kind of glossed over. There was one point when I was on my path of trying to figure out, how to make it in business, where I heard about Bitcoin, like in 2014. I think a lot of people might have a story like this where somebody told you about it and you missed out, And the irony was I was actually I just purchased the book that Tony Robbins released with, I forgot who he co-authored it with, but it was Money Master the Game. And it's got like principles from Ray Dalio and like all these other folks in there, right? The all-weather portfolio. They talked about stuff like that. And so I'm reading this book, and literally like the week that I'm reading this book, I hear this crazy stuff about this Bitcoin thing, and it just, I had like, because of how antagonistic those two ideas are, I just almost like scoffed at it, like the Bitcoin thing, which was in hindsight very foolish. And so I kind of parked paying. I didn't actually. It was a lesson that I'll never forget to just don't just jump to conclusions. Look at something, and I dismissed the messenger too. Also, it didn't help that the person at work was maybe not the most like credible person, so
man, you can't beat yourself up on this. For everyone that we missed, there's about 1,000 that we're glad we missed.
That's true. That's true. We were talking about Bitcoin.
No, but I read an article about the guy who invested in Apple for $800. He was given 10% of the company for $800.
Wow.
But after a few months or a year, he's like, you know what? I'm not really confident. I need my money back. I'm like, okay, it would have been worth $320 million today. It's $8.
Wow.
Don't feel so bad about not buying Bitcoin in 2014. No, I didn't. Sorry.
Yeah. So then fast forward 2017, 2018, that bull market comes along. Yeah. And of course it's getting everyone's attention because this was like the first kind of big bull market. Yep. Bitcoin hit just about 20K that cycle. And I started to pay attention when it was around 4 to 5K per Bitcoin. And that's when I really looked at it because I was like, okay, this is the second time I'm hearing about this. What is this thing? And then I read about it and I'm actually blown away. Yeah. And it just sounded like it was ahead of its time, but I was so fascinated by it. Yeah. It seemed like it was the future. and so I started to invest a little bit and started exploring, different technological innovations that were happening. There were some opportunities that were coming up to get involved in the industry, but the difficult part was I was still working at my job while also still working on building a business. And this crypto thing, I could not see how it would cash flow, and I needed cash flow because otherwise I couldn't escape my job. Right. So I realized it was like I got too many plates spinning here. And so I decided to just park it. Like I invested and I parked and I sat on it, and then I just went back to focusing on business, which was probably at the time, I would say, still the right call.
Yes, absolutely.
And then kind of rode that, market up and down. And as an observer, kind of saw how everything played out.
You had some money left there, it was still going up and down. You just didn't touch it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Just left it there. So it was good. But it wasn't anything that was giving me the confidence to like quit my job at the time. Right.
Right.
So then fast forward, now we're doing well with business. I had left the job and we have like disposable income coming in. So now we're trying to be smart with our investing. And so, I revisit crypto yet again for the third time. And, I'm pretty conservative in my approach. There's a lot of crazy stories in crypto, people, getting rich overnight practically. But, I also knew the risks that came with the industry, and I did not work as hard as I did to escape that grind that I was in just to throw it all away on some like shitcoin, right? Like that's not, that wasn't the plan. So started conservatively, just looking at quality in crypto, looking at what actually makes sense from a tech point of view, what's going to be here. And then around 2021, DeFi, decentralized finance, is this industry that gets birthed. And it creates this opportunity that we've never seen before, for everyday people to kind of basically tap into the same business model that banks and Wall Street have operated, and earn yield or cash flow. And I started getting into this on a personal note, just because I thought it was interesting. It was fun for me. I was kind of geeking out on it at night. And then I realized like, wow, there's so much here. And even the crypto people don't know about it, right? Because like 9 out of 10 people weren't invested in crypto. And then even like the ones that were, only 10% of those people even knew about DeFi. So that's when I realized, okay, there's something here. And I was showing more and more people about it. And I just had this idea, well, what if we started a community and started teaching people? And then we launched a community in 2022 as an experiment.
Can we pause for a second just so people understand? Because before we get in the community, you might want to explain what it is.
Yeah.
People don't understand because I'm still, people still, I have a vague idea having, known you for a while, but I think giving them an explanation of what it is be helpful.
Oh, like DeFi. Yeah. Thanks for catching that. Yeah. Sure. So basically, think of every banking service that we have now, borrowing and lending, trading, like those are kind of the main ones everyone knows and everyone uses. DeFi created kind of like an open market, not run by a company, right? Using blockchain tech, something called smart contracts. People could buy and sell crypto. And then you could, if you wanted to, participate in the business model of it. And what does that mean? It means becoming what's called a market maker. And what is a market maker? If you like heard that term, you don't know what it is. Like it's literally what the words say. Market maker is someone who makes the market, and typically that happens through big banks, right? And big funds usually create a marketplace, right? They'll essentially host a lot of an asset or a security for people to buy and sell from, right? They'll kind of host some supply. And why they do that is because they get a cut of the trading fees. So when you trade, right, you pay fees. You pay these little fees. That's the business model of like Robinhood, Coinbase, Charles Schwab. They get trading fees for that service. So you're
helping people set up their own Coinbase, their own platform to trade?
No. So that's the beauty of it is these platforms are coded and published. And once that market exists, it's just out there, and anyone can kind of like restock the vending machine, right? It's kind of like the vending machine just gets put out there, and it has certain functions. You could go interact with it, just like think about it like a kiosk at a store, or literally like an ATM machine. You know, ATMs and these other devices that we're talking about, companies or somebody owns those things. But with blockchain tech, with decentralized technology, somebody could code a piece of software that does something like allow buying and selling, right? Trading, publish it to the blockchain, and no one owns it. It's just there, and you can't shut it off, right? Now there's one catch. The one thing it needs is inventory, right? Like you got to stock the machine. So, and who can do that? Anyone, right? In traditional finance, that's not true. You need a banking license. You need billions of dollars. Yep. And that's why like the little guy has never been able to participate in this business model, because it just takes so much. Like we can't do it unless you're a billionaire, right? And you play by all the regulatory rules because they're necessary, because you're dealing with currencies, you're dealing with people's people's finances. You have custodians holding money for people. I mean, that's a highly regulated thing.
Right.
With blockchain, all these middlemen are not there because it just functions without them. It's a robot, right? So basically, you can supply that inventory. If you want to be one of the people that stock the machine, so to speak, then you'll get your cut of the fees, right? So if the machine's got $1 million in it, if Doug puts in $100,000 and I put in $10,000, you're going to get way more of those fees than I will, because we'll get our proportionate share of the fees for providing this service.
Okay, so I put my own candy in the machine. That makes sense. How do I get others to put their candy in the machine?
You don't need to. Others can do it or not, but why that candy is there, going with that analogy, is because people want to trade candies, right? They want to trade the Twizzlers for the Now and Laters or whatever, right? Like the Almond Joy for the Hershey, right? So you're saying, hey, I'm going to put in Hershey's and Almond Joys, right? And then people can trade off those pairs, right? So just like when you go trade stocks, there's pairs, trading pairs. So you can pick the pair that you wanna supply inventory for, and you can go supply it. And so that's how it works. So you're kind of operating as a bank, right? You get to be the bank. You get to lend the capital to this open market. And when I say lend, I don't mean like you're giving it to a person and then it's they could default on you. It's not like that. Right. It's out there available for trading, and when people trade one for the other and pay the fee using your inventory, you get your cut of the fees.
Okay. Is this like inside Coinbase, or would I be doing these trades outside of that platform?
Outside. So Coinbase is these are two worlds, right? So this is the hidden market.
That's right. The hidden. We want that's actually the title. We'll get to that. Yes.
So this is what decentralized finance. It's outside of these corporate structures because it's just directly on the blockchain. Like actually Coinbase and all these other exchanges that we're used to, these are not primary markets, right? These are secondary markets.
Wow.
They're companies that set up and offer this kind of like, they're a conduit between the two worlds, right? Because like you're out here in regular finance land with your bank and your cash, and you got to like convert to crypto. So like the main purpose of a Coinbase is to help you turn your cash into crypto. But once you have the crypto, you can just keep it. You could keep it on Coinbase.
Right.
You can hold it yourself in your own wallet, which is what I recommend. And then once you have it yourself and you take it off of Coinbase, now the whole it's like you get to enter Oz, right? And Alice in Wonderland, you get to go in there and uncover all this cool stuff like DeFi, right? And there's these opportunities that are kind of underground that you could participate in.
I watched a video last week about a guy who found an old flash drive that was corroded, but he knew he had 5 million of Bitcoin on it.
Oh, wow.
And it was like shot. He's like taking it apart with a soldering gun, trying to get to work again. Like, can you imagine the stress of trying to recover your digital wallet with 5 million in it? And like, well, I hope this works. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's just stress.
It's funny. That's something in the book that we teach on, that people think it's a common misnomer that like when you see these physical wallets that you can buy, like, oh, you know, there's these devices you can buy, which are good for protecting your crypto. But people think the crypto is on the physical thing. Right? Like they're holding like a USB stick and they're like, oh, my crypto is on here. I have 5 million on this little stick. No, it's not there. The stick is just a signing key, right? The real thing is you get like a secure phrase that you're supposed to keep, and you can load that into a new device. If you broke it or you lost it, right, you could buy a new device, and if you lose that, then you're out of luck.
Right, because it's on the blockchain, which is also up in the ether somewhere, right? It's like, very cool. So, all right, so you're the man at this, because there's not many people doing this to my knowledge. I'm still learning about it. I talk with you. But you've written a book about it. You've got a community. Tell us more about your go-to-market strategy, you know, maybe a little bit about why you're doing this and why other people should be following you.
Yeah. So, you know, I started this as a hobby, just kind of showing people, and then launched a community. I didn't even think of writing a book about what we were doing. And then, you know, the idea came about after we worked with so many people, and actually from a conversation you and I had, right? Like we saw a special opportunity to share the story of the community and teach what we've learned as a community, as a collective, and put it in this medium where people can, you know, pick it up and have some really cool aha moments, learn some practical steps to get into the market. And that was the goal of the book, just to get it out to the masses, because there's a huge opportunity there, and it's the cliche of, you know, this is a once in a lifetime thing. Well, it really is. Like, this is as big as the internet, and that only happens every couple of decades.
What's the the downside or the risk of all this?
Yeah, the two major risks that you know, we help people avoid in the book too. We go through this are not securing your crypto properly, right? And then essentially, you know, what does that mean specifically? It means, like, you know, getting hacked, or just being disorganized, right? Like you become your own worst enemy because you've lost your access to your crypto. And, you know, there are solutions to mitigate that. Like if you don't trust yourself, now we actually have cool solutions. There's third-party services that keep it secure and also do that work for you in a secure way. But those are the two main threats. People, you know, kind of running down dark alleys. People can find a lot of dark alleys in crypto. It's kind of the Wild West. And it's hard to discern the quality from the crap. And, you know, you usually learn a few kind of hard knocks lessons before you start to see the difference. And so what we try to do in the book, and actually in our community, is teach people those lessons up front, so they don't have that bad experience.
That's right.
First.
The book is called The Hidden Digital Gold Rush. You have a copy handy there? You can hold it up, or we'll put it on the screen later if you do. Okay, there we go. Yeah. There we go. The Hidden Digital Gold Rush. Decoding DeFi by none other than crypto legend, DeFi legend, Dan Ryder. Very good. And they can get that on Amazon, or they can get it on your website, of course. You got something to give away today too, I think, right?
Yeah, we got a newsletter where if you want insights on what's happening week to week, we talk about where we think the market's going, interesting things to get involved in. This is a really, really cool newsletter. I was telling you before we started the show that we launched this newsletter and we didn't initially, you know, we were going to put it out there as kind of a cliche thing. You know, you have a newsletter so people can kind of get to know you. And, you know, newsletter content, it's hit or miss, depending on, you know, if you're listening and you're like, oh yeah, I'm on a couple of newsletters, I don't know if I love it. But ours was so good that our clients got mad at us because we didn't think that they would need it or want it, because we were serving them in so many other ways. Yeah, right. And the news, they thought it was so good that they were mad that they weren't getting it. So this is actually a really good newsletter. More Dan Ryder. I need you. You're the commodity. So folks, it's called primedefi.com/free-newsletter. Check it out. It's a gift from Dan.
before we wrap it up, Dan, I want to hear about the big picture stuff of, I'm not into it like you. I just keep a little bit of an ear to the ground on a few things. What's your crystal ball say about our multi-trillion-dollar debt and the people floating this trial balloon saying we're going to move over to a digital currency and paper is going to go bye-bye?
Yeah. I mean, depending on how you interpret that, I'm more pragmatic personally. I mean, I don't think like the dollar is going anywhere anytime soon. Could the world look really different in 10 years? Sure. Yeah. But I'm more pragmatic. I think the US dollar is still going to be the world reserve currency. That's not changing. But we've had so many decades off the gold standard. We've had so many decades where we're just kind of inflating and devaluing the dollar. Right. That something's got to change because the system's breaking, and not just in America, like globally, it's breaking. So what I if I put my futurist hat on, what I think is going to happen is things are going to reprice, and there'll be kind of like a last man standing in the fiat currency world, and we will have things attached to value, right? But what is value in this digital age of AI and blockchain? I think it's digital services, digital commodities, right? So I think that will include crypto. Not all crypto, 99% of crypto is a bunch of hot garbage. I'll be the first to say it. But there are real technologies, like real softwares, like decentralized softwares being built that are going to kind of refresh the internet as we know it to make it more open and fair and free. And that has real world value, and it's going to be tied. I think real fiat currencies are going to start being attached to this value. So that's a change I would expect to see.
Okay. Yeah.
And we actually had the SEC chair the other day, Atkins. He said, this was actually, I was shocked to see this. He said that within 2 years that all our, essentially Wall Street is going to be tokenized. Wow. That's a wild thing to say. Their plan is to tokenize the traditional stock market on chain, on top of blockchain rails. Yeah. So this stuff is not going anywhere. The era of crypto's a sham, scam, all this stuff, there was a lot of narrative over the last couple of years. It was kind of negative. Yeah. Yeah. But there's something that is real here that I think people, even if you're super conservative, ought to take a look at. And, you mentioned at the beginning of the call that we don't just buy and hold Bitcoin. You can't do that. That is the simplest plan. You could just do that. And that would be better than doing nothing. But for people who want to, accelerate their returns, they want to earn a cash flow while they're building wealth. There's other strategies you can take advantage of in DeFi. And I'd encourage you to read the book.
That's right.
We'll unlock this whole world for you.
I'm very intrigued. I hope our listeners to appreciate it as well. It's The Hidden Digital Gold Rush, Decoding DeFi by Dan Ryder. Check it out. In the show notes below are his links for his newsletter, which is so good as his members are mad at him for not giving to us sooner. So check out his newsletter, and I promise you he won't spam you too much, but he will give you some good ideas and help you understand something you probably don't understand and be more well-informed regardless of what you do. So thank you. Any closing statements or predictions you can leave the audience with today, Dan?
Predictions. I think this market, but I think we're in a bull market, and it's going to play out over the next 6 to 12 months, which is longer than what people were expecting this cycle. And so I think 2026 is going to be a really, really exciting year for crypto. Lots of legislation got passed, and there's one final piece in the U.S. that will literally unlock global investing, sovereign wealth. All this cash is sitting on the sidelines waiting to rush into the industry. And as soon as this last bill called the Clarity Act gets signed off, they already made it through, I believe, the Senate or the House, one of them, and it has to go through the other one. Then the president can sign off on it, and then that's it. It's game over. Everything else is already passed on stable coins for digital dollars. So, 2026 is going to be nuts.
Outstanding.
In a good way. So get in the market if you're not in the market.
We want good news. That's wonderful. Thank you so much for being on the show today. Folks,
Yeah.
you're going to want to take notes. This is the Author Brand Show. If you haven't taken notes, they're right below here. Click on it, get Dan's newsletter, get his book. Hope you have a great day and have a wonderful New Year's. Thank you.
Thanks, Doug.